I mean, Joe Biden literally used the Occupational Safety and Hazard Administration to try to cram down vax mandates on 80 million Americans. That's insane.
Sure, but damn. Oh, sure. But Trump's worse. Trump's worse. Somehow.
Said, I cannot relieve student loan debt, and then tried to relieve the hundreds of billions of dollars in student
but what
loan
happened
debt.
to that?
It got struck down by the Supreme Court, and then they still did it. Biden brags about it.
Yeah, literally. Yo, that's crazy. But Trump's worse. Trump's worse. Right? They challenged their thing to the Supreme Court. They lost their case in the Supreme Court, and then power transfer happened.
Right. And Donald Trump had a bunch of legal challenges, and then he had a rally, and then there was a riot, and then he left power.
Yeah, but literally what just happened. What Pence could do in Congress is a far cry away.
A truly theory. I mean, make no mistake. It's a
but not
really
just. I think that if any Democrat had done this, I feel like we would be looking at it in a far different lens.
What? Are you doing a little bit like, what about if Democrats did it? Wouldn't you be on my side? Oh man.
Now your theory is that he's gonna get reelected, and then in 2028 he's not even gonna be on the ballot, and he's gonna direct his new vice president, Kerry Lake, to simply declare him president of the United States when he has not been on a ballot.
It's literally a conspiracy theory. Point out Destiny's conspiracy theory. Thank you. Let's go.
I don't know what the scheme would be.
All right. Hello. My name is Mr. WhyzGuy. Welcome to my tiny microscopic little channel. We're going to be watching Destiny and Ben Shapiro. And if you don't know who they are, well, we got Ben Shapiro. He's basically a guy he's a conservative. They're going to be debating Destiny. This guy is a liberal. They're both really smart people. They're really good at debating. They're very logical. This is gonna be fun. There's a specific part in this episode that I'm gonna watch first. Oh yeah. Also, Lex Friedman. He's the host. I guess he's just gonna be the guy that basically moderates the entire debate. Ben Shapiro's awesome. Destiny's awesome. I like both of them. We're gonna watch them duke it out, specifically on the January 6th part, and maybe I'll watch other stuff. But yeah, sit back and enjoy the show. So we're just gonna skip right to where Ukraine ends.
One of the big issues in this presidential election is going to be January 6th. It's in the news now, and I think it's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So, question for Destiny first. Did Donald Trump incite an insurrection on January 6th, 2021?
Absolutely. This is probably ignoring every other...
I like how Ben Shapiro just laughs at that. Like, yeah. I agree with Ben way more than I agree with Destiny, but... I'll let Destiny make his case.
The issue we've talked about, of which I think there are plenty that I would say disqualify Trump from holding office. I think that the conduct and the behavior leading up to and including January 6th, I think is wildly indefensible. I am excited to see Ben try to, the 3 to 4 stages are the. I'm
just gonna point this out. I agree with Destiny. Like he doesn't what do you say? He's not like trying to mislead you. Like what he's saying is to his opinion and how he feels, and I understand how Destiny feels. But what I'm going to give Destiny some criticism for is why didn't you talk about his conduct before 2016 when he was basically kind of saying the same thing during 2016? Maybe with not as much vigor, but there could have been a January 6th freaking... Actually, I don't think that would happen in 2016. He probably would have been like, yeah, it's corrupt. It's too corrupt. This country's failed us. That's too bad.
Taking what I think any reasonable person would say, knowingly false information about elections being rigged or ballot boxes being stuffed or Ruby Freeman, running ballots 3 times in Georgia. Taking that...
Knowingly is doing a lot of work right here. Just remember that.
Knowingly false information and trying to call state secretaries and stuff to have them flip their electoral vote. That was horrible. The plot that Eastman hatched in order to have these like false slates of electors where all 7 states had citizens go in and falsely say that they were the duly elected electors that could submit votes to Congress. That was insane.
Yeah, see, Destiny's been doing his research. He knows what's going on. That's his interpretation of what happened, but it's not a false interpretation, but it's definitely not a he's definitely interpreting in the most negative light as possible. Like, sure, fine, okay.
that happened. Asking or begging Pence to accept
See, asking or begging. Notice how he says asking or begging. He wants to say begging, but asking is actually what happened. He needs to have the begging part to make it seem way more like, damn, he's like desperate. He might do something like terrible. But if he's just asking, well, what's wrong with just asking? Begging, he really shouldn't be begging people. But yeah, well, I'll just let him make the case.
And then just say you should just throw it out completely and throw it to the House delegation, which was majority Republican. That was absolutely unbelievable. And then
that's not unbelievable. It's a legal theory. Like, what? That wasn't illegal. What he said, asking him to do something and then they're not doing it. That's not illegal. It's not illegal to ask someone to do something that you think is right. And if they say no, unless it's literally illegal, which it wasn't, like this would have been an easy, like, go to court, that's it, done, guilty, that's it. Nah, we're still, like, Trump is still in legal, like, issues for, like, how long now? Probably has been in legal issues since 2016, I think. Because wasn't this whole, like, scandal about him, like, not showing his tax return or whatever? It got leaked eventually, and then when it got leaked, everyone stopped talking about it because they realized that Trump lost a lot of money running to become president. Lost a lot of money. So if he wants power and money and that's the only thing he wants, I think him not running to become president would have been the smarter thing to do. But obviously he's not running because he wants power or whatever, but Destiny thinks otherwise.
On the day of January 6th, trying to capitalize on the violence by him, Giuliani, and Eastman making phone calls to senators and congressmen saying, well, don't you think maybe you guys should delay the vote a little bit? You know, don't you think they're just really mad about the election? I think he said to McCarthy, they're more upset than you. And his utter dereliction of duty in not doing anything to stop the rioting that happened on January 6th because he was too busy taking advantage of it. I think all of these things are horrible. I look forward to seeing the Jack Smith indictments play out in court, maybe even the Georgia RICO case. But yeah, I think all of these things are unfathomable. And I think when you look at the plot from start to finish, clearly the goal the entire time was to circumvent the peaceful transfer of power. That was the goal from start to finish, whether it was through false claims, whether it was through illegal schemes.
That's, I think, no. I mean, that's just what he thinks. That's not actually like what's legally going on in the courts right now with Trump, but sure, make the case, Destiny.
Or whether it was through violence at the Capitol to delay the certification of the vote.
Ben?
So I'm glad you're excited. It's always fun. So there are two elements to incitement of insurrection. One is incitement. The other is insurrection. So incitement has a legal standard. So does insurrection. Neither of those standards are met. So if you're...
yes. Oh, yeah, true. Oh, yeah. This is just what Destiny feels. This is not actually what's going on through the courts. Like, he feels like what Trump did, it feels like wrong and illegal, but it's, I mean, Destiny knows it's not illegal, but it feels wrong, and we shouldn't have this as like a precedent. This shouldn't be something that we should be doing. But like, I mean, didn't they like run like right after January 6th, they fortified what Mike Pence could do. So like that should have fixed the issue that Destiny is like saying, oh, we shouldn't make this as president, or this is something that's like we shouldn't be doing. Like this is like Trump is a dictator. I mean, honestly, I feel like Destiny is just really, really afraid of Trump. Like, why? Why are you afraid of him? Like, what is Trump gonna do? Like, what did he do during his 4 years in office that makes Destiny feel like be so afraid of him? And I'm refrain using the word TDS or Trump derangement disorder because he says that he has it, but like, I mean, I guess it's technically not really a thing, but like it sort of is, like Trump derangement disorder. And I feel like he has it. I don't want to say he's irrationally afraid of Trump. I think he has a rational I think he's over some of the things that Trump does. I think he's just overly skeptical, or making it seem like some of the things that Trump are doing is like this such a terrible thing when it really isn't. And he's just afraid of it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like Trump. He never liked Trump. His family loves Trump. I guess his mom and dad, or his mom specifically, I think he says loves the guy. And I think that rubs him the wrong way. I think there's an emotional part to it. And for his family member, and for him to be dealing with this like almost on a daily basis, because he loves his parents, but he hates the fact that they like Trump. And for Destiny to be as smart as he is, he cannot convince his own family members for why Trump is this terrible person, but in the opposite. Like, that's just crazy. That's just crazy to me. But all right, Destiny. I think he was going to talk about the legal stuff. So
You're asking me, morally speaking, did Donald Trump do the right thing between November 4th and January 6th? I said,
no.
I will continue to say, no, he did not. I think he was saying things that are false, with just factually false about his theories with regard to the election, about the election being stolen, about fraud.
And the thing here is, just because someone's wrong doesn't necessarily mean that it's illegal. Just remember that.
Fraud. This is all adjudicated in court. He did not even bring many of the claims that he has brought publicly and all the rest of that. If we're talking about incitement of insurrection as a legal standard, it doesn't meet any of those standards. When it comes to incitement,
100%.
Incitement to immediate lawless action. That's the standard for incitement. And I'm very meticulous in how I use this because I happen to speak publicly a lot, and that means there are lots of people who listen to me, which means some of the...
Oh, yeah. Ben Shapiro is literally a lawyer. Forgot about that. But I guess I'll post this somewhere. But yeah, come on, Destiny. What are you going to do? This guy's literally a lawyer. You're going to go up against the lawyer with your feelings. Like, I think Ben Shapiro already conceded. Like, I don't think this is, in a moral stance, he doesn't think that's a good thing. So they both agree with the moral stance. But legally, like, there's nothing here. Like, he didn't do anything legally wrong. Trump didn't do anything legally wrong. I should be more specific.
Those people are probably crazy. And some of them may go and do a crazy thing. Did I incite them? The media tends to use the word incitement very loosely with regard to this sort of stuff, in the same way that Bernie Sanders, quote unquote, incited the congressional baseball shooting. He did not. Bernie Sanders has a lot of things I disagree with. I think Bernie's a schmuck. Doesn't matter. He did not incite that. So saying bad things is not the same thing as inciting violence. Inciting violence, the legal standard in the United States is, I want you to go punch that guy in the face. That's inciting. With regard to insurrection,
Trump didn't say that.
In insurrection, and there are some descriptions in case law, though none in statutory law, as far as I'm aware. The typical description in case law is the replacement of one legitimate government of the United States with another by violent means. The notion that Donald Trump coordinated any such insurrection is belied by the FBI itself. The FBI put out a report in, I believe it was August of 2021, suggesting that there was no well-coordinated insurrectionist attempt coordinated by the White House.
This is very, very important. Okay, so let me back up a little bit. Destiny, he's been doing a lot of research, right, into the January 6th thing. I've been watching his streams on the January 6th thing, and I can understand his frustration, but this is the one thing that Destiny did not look up or even figured out. Like, I didn't know that. I did not know that the FBI, after January 6th, did their own investigation and found out there was no coordination with Trump to actually like do anything to like delay the vote or whatever, or anything like Trump didn't demand them to do something to like overthrow the government or anything. And like, that was, and he did not even once like look anything up to counter his argument at all. So honestly, he did a lot of research with the January 6th committee, which was it was just a bunch of hearings, just patting themselves on the back saying, we don't like Trump and here's why. And then they said a bunch of things under oath, which he, I mean, yeah, sure, they're not lying, but like most of the stuff they're talking about is just opinion. So they can't really lie with an opinion, right? Unless they didn't actually believe it. But then you could change your opinion. So like, yeah, it was true before, but I just changed my mind on that. Like, okay, they said a lot of things under oath, but it was a lot of opinionated stuff. But yeah, so I did not actually know that. The FBI did an investigation and found out that there was no. Oh, wait, actually, let me go back one more time. Let's just hear that one more time, because this is like new pieces of information that I did not know that Destiny like literally didn't bother to like look up, because he doesn't care about anything that goes against his arguments. He only cares about things that make Trump look terrible, and because he hates Trump. Ben Shapiro doesn't hate Trump. Ben Shapiro has a neutral stance on Trump. This guy actually hates Trump. That's the difference, and why this is going to be like a really tough conversation for Destiny. But he comes out in the beginning, he's like, obviously Trump did all these terrible things. Like, it's just obvious. He comes in so arrogantly in the beginning. Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. But he literally has no facts to back it up. He comes out like, it's just so obvious, and then just emotionally like spits out stuff and gives you an emotional argument, which is super unconvincing on my part. Because like, sure, you feel this way, but you have an irrational fear against Trump. So, and I don't. So, come on now.
In fact, what you had was Donald Trump.
And Ben Shapiro doesn't either.
That weird alien in.
And Ben Shapiro isn't even like a Trump fan. Like, he didn't like him before 2016, and he still doesn't like him now, like as a person. But policies, Ben Shapiro's all in on his policies. Trump's policies are great. They're good. They actually did. I mean, the fact that he didn't really do much is what Destiny says that's like a negative. Actually, that's a good thing. We don't really want government messing with our lives all the time. Or at least that's my opinion. And Trump didn't really mess with our lives all the time. He did a bunch of tax cuts, but that's like good. Like, we keep more of our money.
In the movie Life, I don't know if you ever saw it with Jake Gyllenhaal, or he's like kind of thrashing up against this glass box, just an alien just thrashing up against the.
Let me go back like 10 seconds.
21, suggesting that there was no well-coordinated insurrectionist attempt coordinated by the White House. In fact, what you had was Donald Trump thrashing around like that weird alien in the movie Life. I don't know if you ever saw it with Jake Gyllenhaal, or he's like kind of thrashing up against this glass box, just an alien just thrashing up against the glass box. That I think is more what you were seeing from November 4th to January 6th. And then again, the claim that January 6th itself was an insurrection. So virtually, I'm not aware that anyone was charged with actual insurrection. There were some people who were charged with seditious conspiracy. There are insurrection statutes that do exist. No one was charged under those particular statutes. There were some people who you could say informally had insurrectionist ideas. Those would be the people who wanted to hang Nancy Pelosi or kill Mike Pence. And those people are in jail right now.
Yep. Where they should be, 100%.
And the election went forward. The election was certified. Mike Pence presided over the certification. Mitch McConnell presided over the certification. Joe Biden has been the president for the last 3 years. So the
true
was still president at that point. If he had actively wanted to do what other people who have actually launched coups have done, he would have theoretically called the National Guard not to put down the riot, but to actually depose the sitting government of the United States in the name of a specious legal theory. He did not do that. He did not attempt that. Nobody working for him did that.
And he legally could have done that too. That's the crazy thing. Trump legally could have done that because he was still the president at that time. And if the president thinks that there was something terribly going on in our country with the voting, he could literally just do that. Like, he has the power to do that, but he didn't do it because he's not this crazy dictator, power hungry guy that Destiny obviously thinks he is, which is crazy. I don't understand why Destiny thinks that about him. Like, he's so afraid of Trump. It's crazy.
The most you can say, I think, about what everybody was doing is that, and I want to say everybody. We can talk about Trump because this is really about Trump. He used a phrase that Trump was disseminating knowingly false information. The word that's carrying a lot of weight there is the word knowingly.
Knowingly.
So knowingly implies a knower. Do I think the information he was disseminating was false? Yes. Do I think that Donald Trump has a unique capacity to convince himself of nearly anything that is to his own benefit? Absolutely. And
100%. I second that opinion. Mr. Billionaire can convince himself to do anything. Yes. There's a reason why Trump is a billionaire, and it still is a billionaire, and just made a lot of money recently, very recently, actually. Destiny obviously is like, nah, Trump's not that crazy. He has like this cartoon depiction of Trump being an evil dictator, and he's like Trump is like super smart, and is it only said all that things because he knows that everything is wrong, what he's saying is wrong, but he's Trump saying it anyway so he can just maintain his power. He wants to be like the ruler of the United States because that gets him way more power than being a multi-billionaire, not being the president and having praise all the time and not having the media rag him all the time. Like, before 2016, Trump was loved. You think Trump wants to continue not being loved by trying to become the president again? Like, is that seriously something? I don't logically understand why. Well, there's no logical reasoning for why anyone should be afraid of Trump. There's only an emotional one, which is what the media has been feeding everyone. Like Trump bad this, Trump bad that, Trump's racist, Trump's like being fed that all the time. Like I can understand why people could be like, oh, Trump's like this terrible person, because like every single day it's like Trump bad this, Trump bad that, Trump in legal issue here, Trump in legal issue there. Like it's crazy the amount of stuff that's going on with Trump right now. But before 2016, everyone loved him. There was rappers that would sing about how like they would want to become Trump. Like Trump was this crazy, this like everyone aspired to be him. It's crazy. He's a New York Democrat, and now he's leaving. He left already. And before 2016, Trump used to be, actually, you know what? I'm not going to ramble on this. Let's keep going.
And I think that that's actually what...
Actually, no, let me finish that thought. Trump used to be, he ran as an independent before in 2016, and then he moved to the Republican Party. I guess he wasn't going to make it on the Democratic caucus. The Democratic stuff, like on the Democratic side, it really screws over the really good people on the Democratic side. Like there was Tulsi Gabbard, she was really cool, and Democrats were like, "Nah, we don't care about your policies. it's too right wing." So they just took her off the ballot. Like it's crazy. And then Bernie Sanders, a lot of people hated the fact that Bernie Sanders didn't make it either. And they screwed him over too. And then Bernie was like, well, if I want to be in the good graces of the Democratic Party, I just got to support Hillary Clinton, that no one liked. But the Democratic Party was like, nah, we like her. It's her turn now. Let's put her on the face of the Democratic Party, which is, it's crazy. No one really liked her, but she still got the thing anyways. And just like Joe Biden, like there was a lot of good people that they could have put in besides Joe Biden, but then Joe Biden still got it anyways. Like, that's crazy. Honestly, Joe Biden only won because like there was such negative, like Trump got anti-voted. No one voted for Biden because they actually liked Biden. They voted for Biden because they didn't want Trump, and Trump was running. So
to convince himself of nearly anything that is to his own benefit, absolutely. And I think that that's actually what Donald Trump was doing there, and the evidence of that is Donald Trump being a human and all of us watching him for the last several years. So, you know, the idea that he knew it to be false, I'm not even sure those standards apply in any, like, and just assessing him as a human, which is really what we're being asked to do because there's an intent element to this crime. Does Donald Trump, do you think that today Donald Trump knows that he lost the election?
Absolutely.
So I don't. Actually, I think
so I'm glad that you have the attorney background. When we are assessing mens rea, when we're looking at certain criminal statutes where intent is required, it's a reasonable person standard, right? Like, would a reasonable person have known that they were...
no, it depends on the mens rea standard. So it's not the same in every case. If you have to establish individual intent, then it's not enough to say a reasonable person should have known. That would be enough for a negligence statute. Usually when you're talking about reasonable person statutes, just legally speaking, a reasonable person statute is, should a reasonable person have known? That's when you get to like manslaughter. You can't do a reasonable person standard on like first degree murder. So you have to establish actual motive in first degree murder.
But for first degree murder, you don't need the statement of I plan to kill this person or I intend to kill this person. We can prove that state of mind.
You need
circumstantial evidence.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Sure. You could prove it.
So I feel like my feeling for Donald Trump was there were all these people around him that he trusted.
Your feeling. Come on now. Stop going with your feelings right now, man. You're talking to the literal guy that says facts don't care about your feelings. Literally. Like, I don't even think I could say it because like I feel like Ben has that trademarked. Like, seriously. Come on now. Oh, my feeling. Let's go back 5 seconds. What did Destiny just say here?
Yes, yeah. Sure. You could prove it.
So I feel like my feeling for Donald Trump was...
Your feeling for Donald Trump. Oh my God. Come on, Destiny. You could do better than that. Where's your facts? You did a bunch of research. We don't care about your feelings right now, man. Come on now. All right, Destiny. All right, what's your feelings now? What's your feelings?
There were all these people around him that he trusted to investigate election fraud. He trusted Barr and the DOJ. He asked Pence, his vice president, to look into it. He asked his chief of staff. He asked his legal counsel. He has so many people that ostensibly he trusts them if he's asking them to look into it. And when all of them looked into it and reported back to him, no, we found nothing. Unless we're going to literally make the concession that Trump might actually be a delusional psycho man, at that point.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He trusted them. And then when they didn't give him the result that he wanted, he stopped trusting them. Therefore Trump's delusional. What? Oh man. That leap on like freaking like logic. Like it goes from like, you don't have to be delusional to just stop trusting someone when they don't give you the results. that you know for sure that's like what is true. That doesn't automatically make someone delusional. It makes them skeptical, and if he never actually found that information, then that would make him delusional. If he had no one to be backing him up, like if he's the only person saying what he's saying and no one else is like backing him up, which he had people backing him up. Trump did have eventually found someone. I think it was that legal theory that they were talking about, and those other lawyers, a bunch of lawyers that ended up backing Trump's that found the legal theory, and Trump was like, "Yeah, that's actually legit. Let's go with that." And then they all were like, yeah, true, 100%. And they all went with him. If that never happened and Trump still believed what he believed, then that would be a good case for maybe he's delusional, because he's literally the only person that believes that. But that's not true. But he goes from, oh, so a few people said no, but he still believed it anyways. That's not what happened. A few people said no, and then he found a bunch of other people that said yes. And then he believed the people that said yes over the people that said no. That doesn't make someone delusional. Come on now, Destiny. That's bad faith. 100% bad faith. Let's go. Caught him on something. Freaking go, man. Destiny, you're getting wrecked right now. Come on now.
Point should he not have realized?
And I'm a nobody. Getting wrecked by a nobody. Let's go.
These people around him that he trusted to investigate election fraud. He trusted Barr and the DOJ. He asked Pence, his vice president, to look into it. He asked his chief of staff.
He's making his case for why Trump is just crazy, delusional guy, or he's an evil dictator. Like it's just so binary with this guy.
Legal counsel has so many people that ostensibly he trusts them if he's asking them to look into it. And when all of them looked into it and reported back,
here's a thought. If someone is being more emotional than logical when they come to a conclusion, I think an interesting way to figure that out without mind reading so much is how black and white they tend to, like, if someone is making their thing super black and white, I feel like they're making more of an emotional argument or an emotional claim or something like that. But if they're a little bit more granular in what they're talking about, then it's less emotional and more logical, because they're actually thinking about other things than just putting just notice in Destiny's speech, he's making a lot of black and white things. Either he's this, either he's that. If he's not this, then it's obviously that. Like he does that a lot. And I think that's an indication that someone's making more of an emotional type argument, which you can kind of brush to the side if you don't care. Like if he comes to a conclusion that you don't like and you know it's an emotional argument, or more of an emotional argument, because there's like a scale to it. It's like logic and emotion. Like you can't really get away from emotion. That's kind of like the thing. But when it comes to like anything that's legal, obviously putting your emotions into it, that's just a bad idea, 100% when it comes to legal arguments. But I don't know. Maybe he's not. Oh yeah, I forgot in the beginning. He's making an emotional argument. His feelings. I forgot about that. So yeah.
To him, no, we found nothing. Unless we're going to literally make the concession that Trump might actually be a delusional psycho man. At that point, should
he goes from one binary to another. So let's just see that right now.
He asked his legal counsel, so many people that ostensibly he trusts them if he's asking them to look into it. And when all of them looked into it and reported back to him, no, we found nothing. Unless we're going to literally make the concession that Trump might actually be a delusional psycho man. At that point, should he not have realized, like, well, okay, maybe
that's not. I think he should have realized the day of the election that he lost the election, but that's not. But that's
sure. But I'm just asking.
I'm
saying that, like, at that point, should he not have known that for him to go and propagate those claims that he'd asked all of the people he trusted to research, and then for him to take those claims to Michigan and to Georgia, and then publicly, and to try to convince people to throw out the election, you don't think that?
But you're doing the same thing. You're reverting to, should a reasonable person have known? Yes, a reasonable person should have known. Did Donald Trump know? That's
the question.
That's a different question.
That is the question.
So conflating those two questions is going to get you into some messy territory. By the way, this is why Jack Smith charged the way Jack Smith charged.
Yeah, which wasn't.
Jack Smith did not charge conspiracy. Jack Smith did not charge insurrection. He did not charge seditious conspiracy, right? If the reason is because Jack Smith is a good lawyer. What he's doing is he's actually broadly, I would say pretty obviously, expanding statutory coverage in weird areas in order to cover a thing that doesn't quite fit into any of these legal categories. But the point that I'm making is that Jack Smith is on my side of this. He doesn't think that he can actually establish the intent necessary to convict under a seditious conspiracy or or an insurrection.
I agree
charge,
with that,
right?
but I think a lot of the underlying facts, though, because he does bring up those calls to Raffensperger in Georgia. He does bring up in the
Underlying facts? What do you mean underlying facts? This is just your feelings right now. You feel like what he said is like wrong, and therefore you're saying, well, I mean, yeah, those are facts, but his interpretation of those facts is negative, which what he's saying so far isn't necessarily a negative. Like a bunch of things that he's talking about isn't as bad as he's trying to make it out to be, but whatever.
indictments that they were knowingly false information. So it seems like that's going to be part of the case, maybe not to convict on any of the 4 particular charges that he mentioned, but it seems like that's probably going to be part of what he's going to have to establish in court to convict Trump.
So I want to look at the actual text of the charges. So I'm sorry that I don't have them memorized. But I believe one's a fraud charge that generally does not apply to cases like this. Generally, the fraud charge is like you're trying to steal money from the government.
Sure, fraud has been used
like
pretty broadly in the past, though. It doesn't have to just be, because Smith has done oral arguments in response to a lot of the claims by Trump's lawyers. This was one of them. The infinite civil and criminal immunity was another one of them, where he cites past cases where these types of things, because I think it was to defraud of civil rights, I think was the 4th charge.
Right. So the defraud of civil rights is usually somebody standing in the actual like voting house door and preventing you from voting, not you have a specious legal theory that you espouse in court about whether those votes should be thrown out.
Sure.
Although
I don't like when we say specious legal theory and novel application, which I do agree some of these in some ways is novel. I don't think we've ever also had a president try to do this before. It is a novel situation where somebody has resisted the peaceful transfer of power this clearly in so many different ways.
Well, if you're talking about the legal cases, that's not true. But Gore sued in 2000. Right? I mean, if we're talking about the legal cases,
comparable to Gore, if this was comparable to Gore, then
He's not saying it's comparable to Gore. He said that this did happen before. Like someone did object to the votes. Like this did happen before. This isn't something that hasn't happened before, which is something I did not know. But now Destiny's doing a little bit of a legal debate tactic type thing where he instead of actually interacting with what Ben Shapiro is actually talking about, he moves the goalposts and says, well, this isn't really comparable. But Ben isn't responding to that, saying that it's comparable. He's responding to what you said, that did this happen before. And yes, that this thing did kind of happen before. Whether it's comparable or not isn't what Ben Shapiro is saying. But I like how he, because like Ben didn't say anything about that being comparable, and Destiny didn't say anything about how it was comparable or anything before happening that was comparable about it. He said specifically, let's go back.
I mean, if we're talking about the legal cases,
comparable
right?
to Gore, if this was comparable to Gore, then
I'm not saying it's comparable to Gore. I'm saying that if the idea is that espousing a legal theory in court amounts to de facto some form of election denial or interference in some way, that's not, as a general principle, it's over-inclusive.
Sure. Gore wasn't trying to decertify the vote, though, for states, right? They challenged their thing to the Supreme Court. They lost their case in the Supreme Court, and then power transfer happened.
Right. And Donald Trump had a bunch of legal challenges, and then he had a rally, and then there was a riot, and then he left power.
Yeah, but the Eastman
Literally what just happened. Literally what just happened. Oh, man.
Theory of what Pence could do in Congress is a far cry away.
A truly shitty theory. I mean, make no mistake. It's
but not
really
just shitty. I think that if any Democrat had done this, I feel like
he has to. This is the basis on why he's so like. I want to say butthurt. Destiny's kind of butthurt. It's like, well, if a Democrat did what he did, then everyone would be talking about how like, oh, this is so bad, right? Right? That's basically why he's talking about this. Like, that's why it's so unconvincing right now. 100%. All right, let's keep going.
We'd be looking at it in a far different lens. As in, we would be using terms like...
Look, Ben's like, what? Is that really an argument right now? Oh, damn. That's good. That's good. Ben's like, wait, what? Mr. Logical Lord? What are you talking about now? What? Are you doing a little bit like, what about if Democrats did it? Wouldn't you be on my side? Oh man. All right, let's keep going.
Attempted coup, subversion of peaceful transfer of power. If a Democrat vice president had tried to essentially say that in Congress they could throw away the vote.
So I think what I want to get to here, actually, so we can be more specific,
sure,
is why.
Yeah, it was a shitty legal theory. Yeah, it was a shitty legal theory. 100% agree. Then again, it was a legal theory that he tried. He went into the courts and it didn't go through and he left power. So where's the point where Trump's like this evil dictator that only wants power? Like, I don't see it. Like, all the facts is that he tried something that was a legal theory that didn't work and then he left. Sir, he said some mean words. He did some mean tweets. When have you? Oh man, I'm so desensitized with all the mean tweets that Trump does during, like, this is not something new. He's been doing this since 2016, and people are like, oh, but he said these mean things and these things, and he shouldn't have said those things. And I'm like, okay, great. He said a lot of things that nothing happened. It's crazy. I don't understand. Like, I'm desensitized. I guess Destiny isn't, because now he's actually like looking into this for the first time in his life, and now he's like, oh damn, look at all these crazy things that Trump has said. Oh, he must be like some evil dictator or whatever. Whatever. I don't know.
Why are these terms important? We agree on, largely speaking, what happened. Mm-hmm. I think the characterization of the term, we keep kind of bouncing around between two different categories, and I want to make sure we
dump the legal stuff.
Okay,
actually,
okay. So we're
not looking at incite, because like you said, Jack Smith, nobody's charging with incitement, and I don't believe insurrection is a part of it. So we dumping legal. I just, in terms of like a president that is trying to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. So whether you call that a bloodless coup or whatever contemporaneous term you want to use.
Right. So prevent the peaceful transfer of power with all means, or using means that are inappropriate. Not quite the same thing.
Using means that are inappropriate or illegal.
Okay. Inappropriate. Okay, so illegal. I don't think so. I don't think that these charges actually meet the criteria for the various charges, and we can discuss each case if you want.
Sure.
As far as inappropriate, sure. I think tons of inappropriate stuff. I mean,
yeah, Trump has said a lot of inappropriate things, but like everyone does inappropriate things, so I don't really care.
Inappropriate seems.
The reason why I don't like the word inappropriate, though, is because then conservatives are very quick to say, well, sure, he was inappropriate, but everybody was inappropriate.
I mean, I'll concede that he's more inappropriate than others. I just don't see
the most inappropriate.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, that's important to me, though. Does it not bother you that, like...
That's important to me. Oh, he's just a little bit more appropriate than everyone else. Oh, okay. Whatever. Sure, I guess. Inappropriate there's kind of a scale on that, whether what you think is inappropriate or not. It's like, sure. That's not really a factual thing. That's more of an emotional type of... argument. Do you agree with me that he was more inappropriate than I feel like that's like, this is where this whole January is like, he did all this research about Trump and how he's like, Trump's like this person that did a attempted coup, and he had a really good argument for it, and then he talks to Ben Shapiro, and now his entire argument got knocked down to the point to where, well, if Democrats did this, wouldn't you be like, he's basically at that point where He's trying to get some sort of sympathy, some sort of like understanding. Like, but if Democrats did this, wouldn't you feel the same way? Like, okay. Honestly, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't care. Like, let's just go back 2 seconds.
But everybody was inappropriate.
I mean, I'll concede that he's more inappropriate than others. I just don't see
the most inappropriate.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, that's important to me, though. Does it not bother you that like Donald Trump sought through legal and extra legal and Trump magical ways of...
Trump magical ways? What are you talking about?
Trying to entrench his power as president past when he should have been able to? Is that not something that was incredibly trouble?
Look at him. He's trying so hard to make it seem like Trump did this weird thing by adding these weird different like Trump magical ways. Like, he's fallen. He has fallen. Destiny has fallen. He wants Trump to be like guilty so bad. So bad. Or he's trying to convince Ben that Trump is like, this is so bad. He wants that so badly that he's just coming up with weird terms now. Like, what is Trump magical ways? Yo, he's trying so hard. Oh my God. All right, Ben. What do you say to this?
I mean, the question to me is the bigger question that I think the Democrats are trying to promote in this election cycle, which is this means he is a threat to democracy sufficient that if he were to win the election, there would not be another.
Is that not? But he tried to do that last time. Could he not try it next time?
And I mean, he could try to do whatever he wants, presumably, and he would fail the same way that he did last time.
Why do we think that?
Because he failed.
Because
there was a riot, and within 3 hours, yes.
Like, let's say hypothetically.
Yeah, there was literally a riot, or a mostly peaceful protest, as I like to call it. it was literally a riot. And then what happened after that? Joe Biden became in power and Trump left. That was it. Nothing else happened after that. They brought their cell phones and did a bunch of selfies and shouted and brought their flags and protested. If they were trying to attempt to take over anything, I think bringing weapons would be probably the bare minimum of trying to take something out. Where at least 50 or 20, no, it needs to be at least 50% or more of the people there should have like a weapon or whatever to like overthrow the government, because like that's like everyone's trying to claim, oh, they tried to overthrow the government. Like, no, they didn't. It was a bunch of people that had flags. There was maybe 1 or 2 weapons found. When I say weapons, I mean knives or guns. Like maybe 1 or 2 for the amount of people that were there, which is insane. Like 1 or 2 from the thousands that were there. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, but they're trying to overthrow the government. Yeah, okay. Okay, dude.
Lord, save me. Let's say hypothetically, like,
See, look, he failed.
because
He, yo, this is the best part. This is obviously the best part. Let's go. Like, Destiny has fallen so far down to the ground to where he's like, well, it's time to pull out the hypothetical to convince him. If you can't convince him with the hypothetical, then whatever. That's just it.
To democracy sufficient that if he were to win the election, there would not be another.
is
He
that
is
not?
such
But
a-
is he? But he
and my
tried
answer
to
to
do that
that
last time. Could he not try it for next time?
And I mean, he could try to do whatever he wants, presumably, and he would fail the same way that he did last time
Why do we think that?
Yep.
because he failed.
Because
Literally, he failed. Like, come on now. He literally failed. But I guess that's not enough facts or evidence for Destiny. He's like, oh, but what if he doesn't fail? I'm like, he did fail. He tried, he did fail. If he tries again, he fails again. Like, that's just the way it worked. Come on now.
Because
Fail
there was a
once,
riot,
it
and
never
within 3
succeed.
hours, yes.
like, let's say hypothetically, Lord, save me. Let's say hypothetically, Giuliani was the next head of the Department of Justice. Giuliani was the next Attorney General.
How would he be confirmed?
I'm not entirely sure if because so much of the Republican Party, despite feeling like they don't support Trump when it comes time to actually back him in Congress.
Also, I would have to check
Um,
whether he would be barred by criminal conviction from holding. I don't know the answer to that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. We're this, especially the 14th Amendment. We're figuring out a lot
Right.
of this right now. Yeah. But I mean, like, say if not Giuliani, say if there are any other number of insane people that Trump could theoretically put on his side of the government,
Insane
that
people.
wouldn't tell him no next time, because there were a lot of people that rebuked him. There were Republicans in a lot of the states. Right. Raffensperger is one of them.
There was also a lot of people that said that did the opposite of rebuking Trump. Hence why there's a lot of lawyers right now being charged. Basically the same thing that Trump is being charged, I think. I think a little bit worse because they're the ones that came up with the theory. But at the same time, it wasn't illegal.
There were Republicans in his own administration. You've got Rosen.
Right.
You've got Barr. There was his own vice president. But like theoretically next time, and I feel like last time going in, I'm going to do a little bit of mind reading at macro.
Actually, I think it is a little bit worse for the lawyers, because I think some of them did actually think was knowingly, like, because they actually know the law. Trump doesn't know the law. So like, you can't say Trump knowingly knew this was false or not. Like, he was wrong, but like, you can't tell someone that's a non-lawyer, oh, you knew that the law wasn't like this. Like, Trump's not a lawyer. He's a business guy. He doesn't know the law. That's why he hires a bunch of lawyers. But you can charge the lawyers a little bit higher up on the fault scale because they know the law. So if they know the law and try to bend it, like, you can kind of mind read and say, the lawyers probably did know this because they do know the law and they know whether something could be interpreted this way or not. And yeah. And then told Trump what he wanted to hear. And then Trump was like, yep, we're going with that.
Maybe you agree, maybe disagree. I think that Trump kind of thought, one, I don't think Trump knows.
So yeah, there's more fault with the lawyers, is basically what I'm saying. And that's why I think the lawyers got a bit of a higher, whatever.
Much at all about how the government works. I think we probably agree with that. I think Trump probably thought that if he had people that were like at least in his party and kind of camp, that they'll basically do whatever needs to be done to give him what he wants, and with no respect for process. But now that he sees it, well, it's not enough to just have allies. I need
No respect for, that's BS, man. No respect. What? If that's what he just said was contradictory. Trump is going to let them do what they need to do with no respect for process. Wait, no, that's stupid. If Trump didn't respect the process, then he would have ordered them to do something in a specific way that would disrespect the process, not tell them to do whatever you need to do, because the people that are going to do whatever they need to do is going to try and respect the process. That has nothing to do with Trump trying to disrespect the process. That's kind of contradictory. Like, he's saying one thing and then saying another thing, and then those two don't actually make any sense. Like, Trump didn't like try to order people, like he was asking or begging, as he said in the beginning of this.
People that are fiercely allegiant to me, would we not be worried that a guy that tried to essentially steal the election for real wouldn't try to pick people that would be more amenable to his plans in the next administration?
I believe in the checks and balances of American government. I believe they worked on January 6th. So if you're asking me, do I think that Trump has bad intent or could have bad intent with that sort of stuff? Sure. Do I believe that the guardrails held and will continue to hold? Also, sure.
So if somebody was running and they blatantly said, like,
he's trying so hard to find like some sort of comparison, which he can't, because what he's saying is BS. But he doesn't believe that what he's saying is BS. I'm talking about Destiny. But sure, whatever. I mean, what he's saying is a stretch. It's a long stretch. Like, we don't care about your opinion, man. Like, just give us some facts to back up to why you think Trump is like this evil dictator, or he's gonna end up overthrowing the government, or whatever his claims are.
I don't want to use the fascist word, but if they said, like, I want to be an authoritarian, I'm going to abolish all elections, you would say, sure, he's saying that, but like, I don't think he can actually do it. So it's okay if he runs for president. You don't care at all as long as you feel like the guardrails.
I mean, I might prefer other candidates, but I think that also one of the things that you do is that politicians, again, this would be an exceptional circumstance, but politicians constantly make promises about the things that they are going to do and then don't fulfill. And we tend to take those out in the wash, meaning that.
Yep. And the way that Destiny framed it before is basically saying, oh, Trump did this terrible thing, but politicians lie all the time. They say they're going to do this one thing and then they never end up doing it, or they do the complete opposite. Obama. So yeah.
You know, if I promise that day one, as Donald Trump has pledged to do, that he's going to deport literally every illegal immigrant to the country, do I think he's actually going to do that? I mean, I really highly doubt it. He didn't do it last time he was in office. That's just, there are many examples of this.
I agree.
Do I think, here's my question. Do you?
Yeah, like, here's another example. Trump said that he was going to lock her up. That was the whole thing, lock her up. And then he came into office, and what did he do? He didn't lock Hillary Clinton up. I mean, I think he kind of just rubbed it in more than anything, honestly. It's like, ha, we won. And you know what? I'm such a gracious person. I'm not going to try and lock her up, or whatever he said. Like, his whole thing is like crooked Hillary or whatever. I think that's what Trump said a bunch. And he said he was going to lock her up and then didn't end up doing it. So, yeah, he said a lot of things that didn't come out and come to fruition. Yeah, let's continue.
That's just, there are many examples of this.
I agree.
Do I think, here's my question. Do you think the guardrails are going to fail to hold?
I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah, because I think the issue is one, when it's election time, Republicans are spineless in office. And I don't know how many congressmen would support what he wants just because they want to win re-election or because they think it's inevitable anyway.
Well, I mean, I think that one of the things that happened in 2022 is Democrats ran directly on this platform, and a bunch of Republicans lost who were running on this platform. Literally every Secretary of State who ran on the Donald Trump "we should deny elections" platform lost in every state.
Sure, but other Republicans
a great way to
that
lose
have been
office is this.
Sure, but I mean, like, look at what happened with like Kinzinger and Cheney, right? Who were very like staunchly anti-Trump after J6 for that select committee, right? Kinzinger didn't even run again, and Cheney lost her election by, I think,
talking about the select committee again. Yep, his biased source, but it's the only thing that he can like grasp straws on, and like his whole argument, like, oh, Trump's this evil dictator or whatever.
Widest margin that anybody has ever lost an election ever.
Right, yeah.
Like all of U.S. politics.
People who were not yet born voted against it, yes.
I guess it's a surprising position to me for if we're looking at like principled stances of government. The idea that a man who has, and I think we both agree on this, that Donald Trump's only allegiance is to Donald Trump, right? We agree on that. The only thing he cares about is Donald Trump.
I don't think it's the only thing he cares about. I think it's certainly the largest thing he cares about.
It's the largest thing he cares about, right? So if you've got a man who
which is basically every human being in existence. Yeah, in existence specifically. Not every human being, but every human being in existence. Because the people that aren't existing, well, I can't say all of them, but a good portion of them probably cared about something a little bit more than their own existence. So let's just say that.
Only cares about himself.
Hence why they're not existing anymore.
Politics. I mean, it may be more.
But that's not even.
It may be more with Trump, but it's certainly not unique to Trump.
I think that the issue with Trump, too, though, is I think he's even a threat to the Republican Party, in which I think you would mostly agree with me, maybe not overall, but on every individual point. Trump picks bad candidates. He has no concern for the future of the Republican Party. Like, for instance, I think there is a chance, I don't think it'll happen because of how the polling looks now, but if Trump didn't get the nomination, I think Trump would say, screw it and run as an independent because he thinks he can win or whatever, right?
But that's what, I mean, that's true. That's what he did in 2016. He ran as an independent, but then he switched to the Republican Party. I think early on he started as a independent, and then he switched to the Republican Party. Yep, that's what. So there's definitely some logic to that. 100%.
I doubt that he would do that, but theoretically,
possible.
he could.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
he was really content to throw Georgia, the 2 runoff elections under the bus because Raffensperger didn't support him for the election.
So,
stuff.
what is all of this in service of? What's the generalized argument that you're making? Do you believe? I'll go back to my question. Do you think that if Trump wins, there will be no more elections? Is that like what put a percentage on it? What percentage do you think that's a reality?
If Donald Trump wins, I think there is a 100% chance that he will try to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. In terms of would he succeed?
I can guarantee you he will not do that.
Why is that?
Because he's in his second term and he's no longer eligible, and he will believe he won and he will leave.
Yeah, but hasn't Donald Trump himself been joked about running for a third term? I think that having a third term.
What has Donald Trump not joked about? I mean, for God's sake.
I don't. Okay, hold on.
If you want to prevent him from creating a revolution, you probably should actually just appoint him president, and then he can't run again.
Here's another broad argument that I don't like in favor of Trump, and this was brought up earlier in terms of like we talk about like not grading presidents on a curve, but then earlier we said we take Biden's rhetoric.
Oh no, I totally grade Trump. I 100% grade presidents on a curve. Are you kidding?
Oh, okay.
I grade pretty much everybody on a curve.
Then I feel like
I don't treat my 7-year-old the same way that I treat my 9-year-old.
Sure, but I don't like that. Obama. It feels like we're treating Donald Trump like a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old. I think we should treat him like the president of the United States. I don't think having a president that has taken like concrete steps to prevent the transfer of power, which he did with the electorate sham, which he did with Pence, and which he did with trying to capitalize on the J6 violence, a president that's taken concrete steps towards cooing the government, essentially. I don't know why that guy, we'd say...
Your opinion? Concrete steps towards cooing the government. You didn't make a good argument for that yet. Still waiting for that one. Abusive power.
Well, it's Trump. He does Trump things. The guardrails held. I'll probably hold next time.
I mean, when we say we shouldn't, do you mean that he should be actually barred from office?
I'm just talking about support for him. I don't even think Republicans should support Trump. You lose your incumbent advantage. The guy's obviously self-destructive. He's destructive to the political party itself. Like,
do you think he should be on the ballot? You think there's a case to be made to remove him from the ballot?
I think there's a case to be made, but man, the phrasing, I think for the political future of the United States, it's probably not healthy that the leading opposition candidate is now going to be barred from the ballot. It's probably not healthy for us. Because then what?
You want to talk about threats to democracy? That would be a pretty serious one applied across the board, by the way.
It would be, however, like that.
What do you mean it would be? It is. If a state could just randomly be like, we don't like this guy, so we're not going to put you on the ballot. Like, that's way worse than what Trump ever did or any legal theory that you could come up with. Like, what? That's crazy. Oh, we don't like your politics. So what? So Texas, if they don't like the Democratic Party because like they don't like what let's just say, actually no, this is actually true. What's her face? The vice president right now, Kamala Harris. Let's just say the red state's like, hey, she supported the BLM riots that happened, ended up destroying a lot of people's properties and businesses. But she supported that, or mostly peaceful protest, as they like to call it. So yeah, and then the red state's like, since she did that and supported that, we're gonna take her off the ballot. Like they could just do that. Is that something seriously? That's not that bad. Like what Trump did was way worse than what Texas just did right there. Like is that something this is a hypothetical. This isn't actually what would happen. But like if that's like I like how he's downplaying something that's actually really like an actual threat to democracy. People just saying, we didn't like that she did that. Therefore, like there's no legal sentencing or anything. Like what Colorado did trying to take Trump off the ballot of the Colorado state thing. I think it's Colorado. And I think Maine also did something similar. But there's 0 convictions right now. And they have there's no conviction for anything that could make them say, hey, let's bar him off the ballot. They're just going off of like, he was a part of something that we didn't like. So therefore, like, that's basically what the argument is. I think I think this video came out before the striking, like they actually did strike Colorado's thing. Like the Supreme Court looked at it and they said, no, this is not constitutional. I think that actually, yeah, that did actually come through. Yeah, because this is an old video. When did this come out? Freaking 4 weeks ago. Yeah, so I'm kind of late. Let's continue.
That threat to democracy was earned by Donald Trump and the conservatives that supported him. I think conservatives made a dangerous gamble when they threw Trump into office.
That's just your opinion, Destiny.
All of the fallout from that is something that we all, as Americans, have to deal with.
I mean, I think that the unprecedented legal theory that a state can simply bar somebody from the ballot on the basis of, in an informal way, believing that he is, quote unquote, an insurrectionist is pretty.
People said that he was. That's basically all that Destiny's going off of, or what Colorado's going off of. People said that he was an insurrection. Therefore, let's just take him off, which the Supreme Court ruled was unconstitutional. So we don't even, that this is old news. This is before that ruling has happened. So that's why Destiny's like talking about it.
Pretty wild. I mean, that
we can say it's pretty wild, but there is an amendment in the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, that says that if they have engaged in this, they shall not be, or you shall, I don't remember the phrasing because it doesn't require conviction, but it's a self-executing, arguably thing.
If we're getting into constitutional law, I mean, there are a number of provisions that suggest that this is, number one, not self-executing. I mean,
Remember, Destiny's talking to a lawyer right now. So if Destiny disagrees, well, obviously he's disagreeing with an actual lawyer. No amount of research on one specific January 6th committee is going to make Destiny more informed than an actual lawyer. So take this with a grain of salt, I guess.
Minority opinions in the Colorado Supreme Court case are pretty thorough. The number one contention, which is that this is not self-executing because other elements are not self-executing, that ignores subsequent actual law that happened. I mean, the Congress passed a law, for example, in 1872 defining who was an insurrectionist, who was not an insurrectionist for purposes of elections. In 1994, Congress passed a law that specifically defined insurrection as a criminal activity so that somebody could theoretically be convicted of insurrection and therefore ineligible to run for office. It is unlike, say, the analogs that are used by the majority opinion, like age. Obviously, this is not the same thing. We can all tell what somebody's age is by looking at their birth certificate. I can't tell whether somebody's an insurrectionist without any reference to a legal statute or definition of the term.
I would also be careful.
And then he's going to bring up, what about Trump talking about, like he does a bunch of whataboutisms because like Destiny's like lost. He's lost. He's in the grave when it comes to the argument. There's nothing that could unconvince Destiny that Trump's like this evil, like he's potentially an evil dictator that wants to be president forever and have all this power. Like what is then again, whatever. Actually, no, leave in the comments below. Actually, yeah, literally. Oh, wait, hold up. Yeah, down in the comments. Thank you very much. What do you think is Destiny like? What does Trump gain besides the presidency? Like what specifically can he do in his last term to make himself be president forever? Actually, no, that's a dumb question because like he can just invoke like, yeah, whatever. Let's just keep going.
Careful with that because remember, one of Trump's first like big political actions was challenging Obama's birth certificate.
Well, and I thought that was dumb at the time. But
sure.
In any case,
I like that you both said 100% chance that Trump will try to go for third term and 0% chance, which statistically...
Third term, he's done, man. Are you kidding?
He would want to.
Trump's going to walk around, hands up high. He's going to be like,
Who cares if he would want to? Like, what? That's not convincing anyone. Oh, he would want to. So? There's a lot of people that would want to take a third term. But did they? No. Because it's not legally able to... Oh, my God.
Two-term president. I'm the only president since Grover Cleveland who would know. But since Grover Cleveland, who served 2 non-consecutive terms, I kicked Joe Biden out of office and I kicked Hillary Clinton out of office. Dude would be like, he'd be living large. Are you kidding? He doesn't want the presidency anymore after that.
I just think that I think it's scary that like Donald Trump.
Also, Trump lost a lot of money being the president. He's going to lose a lot more money becoming the president again. But so then again, I guess, so what's my argument for why Trump is trying to run then if he's going to be losing a lot of things? First off, he lost the first time and now he's trying to run again. If Trump actually, that's an argument that I'll save for later.
It feels like for all of the accusations that are made sometimes against Democrats, like Biden is ordering Garland to investigate Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. It seems like Donald Trump would actually do that with his DOJ, would give them orders.
He didn't. He didn't.
Well, he kind of did.
He didn't. He didn't. What do you mean he kind of did, though? What does that mean? He literally didn't. You can't go back into retrospectively go back into the past and say, actually, well, he kind of did. Like, but he didn't. He literally didn't. Come on now, Destiny. You're just grasping at straws at this point.
Though, right? So
He didn't. He didn't.
Well,
He didn't
kind
do it with
of
his
he
DOJ.
kind of did though, right? So for instance, with Jeffrey Clark went to Rosen and Donahue and said, "Hey, listen, I need you guys to sign off on a letter that we're going to use essentially to bully states into overturning their elections by saying we found significant election fraud."
Bully
Part of that
states.
threat was Jeffrey Clark's
Bully states. See the framing this? When he says bully states, he literally means go ask them to do something. And if they don't do it, oh, then that's I guess that's too bad. Just ask them and see what they say. Oh, bully. Oh, bully. Like what? He needs to go bully state. Like I love his framing on that. It's just funny. It's funny. He's trying so hard to make it seem like Trump did this terrible thing. Oh, he bullied people. Oh,
saying, "Listen, if you're not going to do it, Rosen, Trump's going to fire you and just make me the acting attorney general." That was the threat that he carried, and I think Trump repeated that threat in a meeting later on. That was, I only rebuked when I think like half the White House staff said, "If you do this, we're resigning."
Okay, so that's a slightly different topic because now you're getting into all the election shenanigans and all this. But
Sure, I'm just saying he threatened to fire his acting attorney general if he wouldn't carry the same platform. Essentially, like if Trump could order his DOJ to do something, would he? It's not beyond the pale for him, right?
It's not beyond the pale for him to order them to do it, and then it's not beyond the pale for them to reject him doing that, which is the story of his entire administration. Whereas Joe Biden orders his DOJ to do things, and then they just do them.
Well, I'm not. We
literally. If he's so afraid of Trump ordering his DOJ to do something, which I think he did, and then they just said, "Nah, we're not going to do it," and then. But he's so afraid of Trump, but when Biden literally asks his DOJ to do something, they just do it 100%. Like he's literally being prosecuted by Biden's DOJ because Biden was like, prosecute this guy because we need to get him off the ballot or something, or I don't know what the conspiracy theory behind it, but like literally Biden's DOJ is prosecuting Trump, which is very kind of sketchy. Like why would you go and prosecute someone during an election year, especially when he's the leading opponent to you? If he was this terrible threat this entire time, why didn't you prosecute him as soon as he came into office? It wasn't 100% dead set that Trump is going to end up like trying to run again. Like, why would you prosecute him when you realize that Trump is going to start running again against you? Like, that's just like the timing is really, really sketchy on this one. Come on now. Like, what are you doing, Biden? What are you doing? Or what are you doing, Biden's DOJ? Because I guess there's no proof that Biden ordered them to or at least I don't have that information, but I think that's what happened. But I guess take that with a grain of salt.
We can get into specifics there.
This is one of the big problems that I have with, for example, all the talk about Trump tyrant, Trump executive power.
Exactly.
Joe Biden has used executive power in ways that far outstrip
Every
anything.
president.
Exactly. And Destiny isn't scared of that whatsoever, but he's so afraid of Trump doing all these things. And then look, he's going to cope and
has been...
Joe Biden has used executive power in ways that far outstrip
every
anything. Every
president has been stretching and stretching and stretching.
Oh, every president is doing, but Trump is just this unique one that didn't really do much of that. But we're still afraid of him for some reason. Like what? Because he's the first president to have a protest at the Capitol. Okay.
Stretching executive power.
That's Joe Biden is going Joe Biden has gone well beyond anything Trump even remotely attempted to maintain via just pure executive power. And actually, Trump's use of executive power is nowhere near even what Obama's was.
Trump's inability to get...
Wow. He can't even refute that fact. Destiny can't even refute that fact. Listen to that again. He can't even refute that. He's like, he knows that's true, but yet Destiny's still afraid of Trump. That's why I feel like Destiny just has an emotional fear of Trump, obviously.
Power. And actually, Trump's use of executive power is nowhere near even what Obama's was.
Trump's inability to get border policy passed literally had him using executive power to march the military down to the border to do border policy.
Wow. Okay, Destiny. Cope, man. Cope. Can't even refute the fact that he jumps from I'm not afraid of Biden because Biden's I like Biden. That's what Destiny would say. He likes Biden. So he's not afraid of when Biden does his executive power. And even when Obama does way more than what Trump ever did. But Destiny's afraid of Trump's abuse of power versus all the, both Democratic people, both Obama and freaking Biden had a way higher use of executive action or abuse or considered abuse of power or whatever, or overusing or just using a lot of the executive power. But like Destiny's just still afraid of Trump way more than he's afraid of everyone else doing that. Like, that's crazy. That just shows how emotional that Destiny is basically. Like, after hearing all of these facts, Destiny's like, well, damn. But like, I guess Trump did do that thing with the border, right? Like, yeah, he did do that thing with the border, right? I mean, he did, but like, unlike Biden, that's using his DOJ to prosecute Trump, because like that's what everyone in the US needs right now. Him using his DOJ, the resources of the DOJ to go after a political opponent, and then versus Trump using his executive power to make sure our border is actually secured. Oh, that's like one, like they're both using an executive power that they have, but one is actually for the country and the other one, it's for what? 25% of the country. Like, well, how does that help the country prosecuting Trump? I don't see, unless Biden's like, oh, he's going to be a dictator. He's going to be this evil dictator. Where's the proof of that? Oh, but Trump said this thing. Oh, so you're going to take Trump's word for this. But when Trump says all these other things, we don't care about Trump's word then, because obviously every other thing he says, he was just lying. But all the things that makes Trump look bad, he's telling the truth. There's probably something there. Like, that's just how I feel, honestly, that everyone's taking this. But whatever, let's keep going. We're almost done.
I mean, Joe Biden literally used the Occupational Safety and Hazard Administration to try to cram down vax mandates on 80 million Americans. That's insane.
Sure, but
damn. Oh, sure. But Trump's worse. Somehow.
Said, I cannot relieve student loan debt, and then tried to relieve hundreds of billions of dollars in student
but what
loan
happened
debt.
to that?
It got struck down by the Supreme Court, and then they still did it. Biden brags about it.
Yeah, literally. Yo, that's crazy. But Trump's worse. Trump's worse. Biden literally does let's go back.
It's on 80 million Americans. That's insane.
Sure,
he
but
literally
why-
said,
but why
I cannot
give-
relieve student loan debt, and then tried to relieve.
Oh yeah, the student loan debt. Yeah. Biden literally tried to relieve student loan debt. The courts was like, nah, that's unconstitutional. And then Biden was like, we're gonna do it anyways. And then he does it anyways. He pushes it through. It does it automatically. And then the court said it was unconstitutional. How is he able to do that? Oh, but Trump's Trump is worse. Like, where did Trump ever like supersede the constitutionality of what what the courts actually said to him? When does Trump ever did that and just did it anyways? Where's your proof of that, Destiny? Come on. Trump's way worse than Biden, obviously. So, like, where's your evidence that Trump did at least the same thing?
Billions of dollars in student
But what
loan
happened
debt.
to that?
It got struck down by the Supreme Court, and then they still did it.
Yep, they
Biden
still
brags
did it.
about it.
Literally. Is that false, Destiny?
For having relieved
For what he was
billions.
able to relieve, which I think were related to particular types of student loan debt. But I'm just saying that, like, well, the guardrails are holding with Biden as much as they're holding with Trump. The only difference is that once Biden exhausts his executive power, he's not running around like lying to people or trying to extort people or trying to and concoct insane schemes.
Well,
Where's your proof of that, Destiny? Like, where is he doing that right now? What is Trump doing right now where he's trying to concoct schemes to become, like, where is that? Like, it's just Destiny has literally a conspiracy theory against Trump. Like, what he's talking about has no legal basis. It's just his opinion. And honestly, it's a very unconvincing opinion, to be honest. Not gonna lie.
I mean, so here's the way I would think.
So afraid of Trump. It's
Think
crazy.
of the guardrails holding as the filter.
Sure.
Okay, meaning like the coffee is in the filter. Some of it's what you want is going to get through, and all the stuff. The guardrails prevent the other stuff from getting through.
Mhm.
Now the question becomes, what liquid are you pouring into the filter? Okay, meaning so if the filter exists, if the guardrails hold, and if Donald Trump can't steal elections, what's the policy that comes through the other end of the filter? The policy I get from Donald Trump on the other end of the filter is a bunch of stuff that I like. The policy that I get from Joe Biden on the other end of the filter is a bunch of bullshit I don't. So that's the basic calculation.
Okay, so then the idea is essentially that Donald Trump's
Biden's student loan debt didn't help me one bit, so I don't care about that policy. Trump's tax cuts did actually help me, so I do care about that policy.
rhetoric is insane, but we don't care.
yeah, I had like something going on where I needed an accountant, and he was talking to me about like he was running me through all these things. And at the end, he was like, "Oh yeah, so you get this extra cut for like an overall cut, just by 20%." And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Oh, because the Trump tax cuts that passed a couple of months ago." And I was like, "Oh, cool, great, thank you. I don't have to pay so much. That's nice." I keep a little bit more of my money. Like that was crazy. That was nice flat 20%. Oh man, that's great. That's good. Look at him. Look at Trump helping the Black-owned business owners. Awesome. This was a while ago though, because this, like, as soon as Biden came into office, he completely slashed all that out. So then I started paying more in my taxes, and I'm like, wow, okay, that 20% gone. We got to pay that now again. But I guess Biden hates Black-owned business owners because he took away that thing that actually helped out Black-owned business owners. But that's a very fallacious argument that I really shouldn't like keep into this video. But I'm gonna keep it in anyways because, yeah, Destiny wants to talk about his feelings. I'll talk about my feelings too.
Donald Trump would probably try to steal an election if he could, but he probably won't be able to.
He's not going to do it again. I told you. He's not.
You don't think he has any? Why not?
Because he won't be eligible to be on the ballot in. I mean, by the way, you want to talk about 14th Amendment? Mm-hmm. That's where the 14th Amendment applies. Okay, that's where it actually applies. Meaning you cannot. He is not qualified to be on the ballot in 2028 if he is the president of the United States. States can literally, in self-executing fashion, take him off the ballot, just like he's past the age of 35. Once you have been president 2 times, you're no longer eligible to be president of the United States.
But Trump bad. Trump real bad. Like Trump bad. 100% bad. Like Trump's evil dictator. He's gonna figure a way out to circumvent that, like he did the last time, but ended up leaving power. And Joe Biden's president now, but like still, he could potentially not do that. Like, is that what it? Oh man, Destiny. What do you have to say to this?
States.
Why?
Then you
why
actually
do you
have
think,
a strong little
yeah, but like
keep him off the ballot.
Why would the 14th Amendment stop him if he thought Vice President Pence could unilaterally decide the outcome of the election?
That's not what happened.
When he's not on the ballot. So now your theory is that he's going to get reelected, and then in 2028 he's not even going to be on the ballot, and he's going to direct his new vice president Kari Lake to simply declare him president of the United States when he has not been on a ballot.
Yeah, because that's the it's literally a conspiracy theory. Point out Destiny's conspiracy theory. Thank you. Let's go.
I don't know what the scheme would be. I think.
Oh, you, Mr. Galaxy Brain that hates Trump, can't figure out an actual scheme that actually could happen, but you still think Trump's this terrible guy anyways. Like, this is just... All right, Destiny. And at this point, whatever Destiny has to say about Trump, you can literally just ignore him. He just has, because he hates the man so much, he's coming up with conspiracy theories on why he thinks that could happen. And Ben Shapiro is literally tearing his conspiracy apart, like, in real time. Like, it's just so absurd what Destiny thinks. Like, oh man.
We can kind of like laugh and say there's no scheme we could even concoct.
Then come up with the scheme, my boy. Come on now, come up with the scheme. We're listening. Make your case. But you can't, because there isn't none, bro.
But I think
Camacho, like with the machine gun, he's going to walk in.
I think the issue though is that like the idea of
now Ben is just making fun of him because like obviously it's stupid, and I second that 100%. Like, yo, we can't come up with a scheme. Come up with it, man. You're smart. You're like I put a lot of like respect. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, he is smart. He's really smart, but that just shows how dumb his feeling is right now about Trump. Like, he's so smart, but he can't figure out an actual, like, legitimate way in how Trump could actually pull this off to run as a third term. Like, he likes to talk about the 14th Amendment, but then the 14th Amendment literally destroys his, like, oh, he's going to be a dictator forever, or whatever nonsensical argument that he has, or emotional argument that Destiny has for how Trump's going to end up being in the third term or whatever.
Electing another president that has tried to circumvent the peaceful transfer of power using extra legal means, and then pretending like we can't concoct a single scheme.
What do you mean pretending? Make it up right now. Do it right now. What do you mean making? Oh, we're just pretending that we can't do. Why would you be pretending to not be able to figure this out? Like, come up with it, man. he's literally just complaining at this point because he knows that he can't come up with something. So he's just gonna say, oh, we're just pretending that we can't come up with something. Obviously there's something out there that just happens, like where he literally could do this, but I'm just too dumb or stupid to actually come up with it right now. So we're just gonna sit here and pretend that Trump can't do it. Come up with it, man. Like you're the one trying to make the case. Like, bruh.
That he could try to circumvent other legal processes to.
And Destiny is really smart, so I don't. This is stupid. This is just him coping out of actually coming up with a legit argument to why he thinks Trump is going to be like this evil dictator. Like Ben Shapiro literally knocked him down, peg after peg after peg, and now he's at the point of where, well, why don't you come up with an actual? Yeah, I got a text and lost my train of thought.
Have a third term or to have a longer term or to install who he wants.
Oh yeah, let's go back just a little bit because like Ben just tears his arguments apart. Like he's just at the point of where he's just like he can't even come up with an actual like legitimate thing, and it's just based off emotions. But Destiny's still gonna believe what he wants to believe because like he doesn't like Trump. So here's his cope. Let's hear it.
So now your theory is that he's going to get reelected, and then in 2028 he's not even going to be on the ballot, and he's going to direct his new vice president Kari Lake to simply declare him president of the United States when he has not been on a ballot.
I don't know what the scheme would be. I think
shouldn't you though? Like you should, right? You're the one trying to come up with the argument against it, right? Like this is gonna happen, right? But you can't come up with it? Come on now, Destiny.
We can kind of like laugh and say there's no scheme we could even concoct, but I think
come up with it.
With the machine gun, he's going to walk in.
I think the issue though is that like the idea of electing another president that has tried to circumvent the peaceful transfer of power using extra legal means, and then pretending like we can't concoct a single scheme that he could try to circumvent.
I like how he says specifically extra legal means instead of saying when he tried to concoct something illegally. Nah, he can't say illegally because what the lawyers and Trump did wasn't illegal. Oh, extra legal means. What's that supposed to mean, Destiny? It means that Destiny he's coping right now. He's literally just coping. He's trying to make it sound like he's trying to make his argument sound way more worse than it actually is. So yeah, keep going.
Other legal processes to have a third term or to have a longer term or to install who he wants as the next president. When a person has already shown you who they are, and when every single person around him agrees with that, when every single person that's worked with him, save for Sidney Powell, Eastman, and Giuliani, which I don't think anybody would want to throw their lot in with those three. It just seems wild to me that we would say like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and trust this guy with another term of president, but like he can't run for a third term, so it's fine. When there's like 50 million other things.
And I'll make you the case that if you want him not to make election trouble, you should elect him president in the next election cycle, and then he will be ineligible.
Wholly unconvincing argument, but okay.
Well, recently in the news.
All right, that's it. We're done. The next thing to talk about is wokeism, then institutional capture. I kind of want to do the Trump versus Biden thing and the education thing. I had a lot of thoughts on that when I was listening to it before, but this thing's over an hour long, and I don't feel like editing more than at least 2 hours of worth of content and then squeezing it down to at least under an hour. So thanks for watching. I hope you do what's on the screen right now. Like and subscribe. Comments are great too. Thank you very much. And I hope you learned something. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye now.